Hey Songsters, today we're going to talk about bad relationships and how they're affecting your writing. It's time to cut out the crazy makers. I post tutorials, song vlogs, and new songs every week on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. If that interests you, please consider subscribing and clicking the like button and maybe even sharing this video on Facebook. Invite your friends to join the tribe. There was a time when I seriously had to examine the relationships and friendships in my life, and I had to decide to cut out the crazy makers. I knew it was time because the voices in my head that were telling me I was a bad writer, that were telling me that I was stupid or silly, that any new idea I had to put on the page was ridiculous, and why would anyone want to hear that? Those voices were the voices of boyfriends or friends that kind of made me just feel like crap about myself, and I could hear their thoughts, or what I assumed were their thoughts, before I even put pen to paper, before I even wrote down an idea in my private journal, which no one really needed to read if I didn't feel comfortable. Those thoughts would stop me from even just sharing my own ideas in my private journal. That's when you know that you have a crazy maker. If this is where you're at with any of the relationships in your life, if you have someone in your life who just makes you feel crazy, no matter what you do or say, it's always wrong, it's always ridiculous, they're causing drama around you, and it's really inhibiting your writing, we need to chat about crazy makers, because you have the right to set up boundaries in those relationships, and it's really going to improve your writing if you do. One of the best books on writing I've ever read is by Julia Cameron, and it is called Artist's Way. This is the book that taught me about crazy makers. There's a really great quote that sort of defines crazy makers. So if you're not really sure if you have one of these people in your life, maybe this will clear it up. Crazy makers are those personalities that create storm centers. They are often charismatic, frequently charming, highly inventive, and powerfully persuasive. And for the creative person in their vicinity, they are enormously destructive. You know the type. Charismatic but out of control, long on problems and short on solutions, crazy makers are the kind of people who can take over your whole life. Again, that's from The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. If this sounds familiar to you, you need to pick up a copy of The Artist's Way. This is like a therapy book for writers. Really, it's a therapy book for any creative person. So whether you're a writer or a painter, any kind of creative exercise or activity that you invest in, if you feel that you have crazy makers in your life, pick up this book. It is so helpful. It's really about healing as a writer, because a lot of us writers, we get into relationships that are abusive and destructive, and we don't even realize it, and it takes a lot of time for us to heal from those. It really affects our art. So check out this book. It's going to be a lifesaver. It could just be that your writer's block is not because of you. It could be that your writer's block is actually because you've let someone in your life who's taking over, and they shouldn't be. It could just be that your writer's block is because you have a crazy maker. You have someone causing drama. Maybe that person causing drama has been there for a long time. Maybe that person causing drama, that crazy maker, is in your family. Do what you can to cut off those relationships. I would say if it's a friendship, or maybe even a boyfriend or girlfriend, think about it, pray about it, talk about it with trusted friends, not crazy makers, but consider cutting off that relationship. Maybe just taking a break and see how much less drama you have in your life. If your crazy maker is in your family, we all have difficult dynamics with family members. That can be a real challenge. But know that you have the right to set up boundaries. If there's a person in your life in any kind of relationship, you have the right to set up boundaries to keep yourself safe. And maybe this person isn't physically abusive, but to keep your heart safe, to keep your artwork safe, to keep your emotional well-being stable. And if you need to talk to somebody about it, you know, maybe it would be a good idea to look into some therapy. I've been through therapy and it was really helpful for me. I am not opposed to therapy, so maybe that's a good option for you. When I finally got to a point in my life where I felt confident cutting off those crazy maker relationships, my writing got so much more prolific. Partially because I was angry and I was healing, so I wrote a whole album called Kelsey Wrote Tears in the Rising Tide. And I finally felt free to write these thoughts and feelings and to just hash them out, and it felt so good. It was so good to get those thoughts out and to just not care what those people thought. It changed my world as a writer. It really did. So good luck to you on your journey of cutting out those crazy makers. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it helped you and encouraged you, and I'll be back on Friday with another song vlog. Click subscribe and write the song you need to hear this week.